Well, welcome everyone to our presentation about Imara International, who we have finally begun our formal relationship of support with. Just a couple of weeks ago, we finally got that all going. And I'm very, very pleased that we have 3 people from Imara here today. We have Amy Rintamaki with us, who is in Minneapolis, and she is the U.S. Director of Imara International. We also have Pastor Steve Richards, who is the chair of the board of Imara International. Welcome, Steve. And we have Carol Erickson with us as well. I actually am not going to say much about any of them because I trust that they can best introduce themselves to us. I do just want to note that Carol is founder of Imara, and I didn't know, Carol, that you're going to be able to be with us today, and I'm really thrilled about that. So that's a surprise for me too, and a huge honor. Steve was also has been involved with Imara since it began, and he was integral, vital to its beginning and its growth too over many years. So I know that you've seen a presentation before about Imara about a year ago, thanks to Bev Mosier, who is here also. Let me turn that to Bev Mosier. Wave, Bev. Bev gave you all here at St. James a presentation about Imara a number of years ago, just a year ago. And also, I'm going to turn the camera again because Lori, can you see Lori? Lori Walton is our rector, and she is the one whose idea it was, who did the research and found Imara as a possible organization for us to support. As your previous relationship with another organization came to its natural end as the students who you were supporting finished their education and graduated. So Imara is an absolutely wonderful organization. It's an organization, you may know this, please. You may very well know this from Bev's wonderful presentation last year. Imara supports young women, girls really, and their children. Girls who have become pregnant through no fault of their own in Kenya, in Africa. And it is a haven, a residence, a school, a community, and a new way of life for the very fortunate young women who find Imara and who Imara finds. It's a way for for girls who are pregnant to continue to be supported in community, to continue to learn, to learn about parenting and raising children, to continue to be able to worship the Lord they love and know, and also for their children to be raised in community and for their children to be educated as well. Before I say any more, I'd like to show you 2 videos, after which we will hear from our very special guests. So I know you have seen these videos many times, but I'm going to show first the video of your board of directors member speaking in her own parish, having just been on a trip to visit Imara International in Kenya. And I'm going to show one of the videos of one of your young women and her son.
Imara, as I said before, is a home and a school for young girls in Kenya and their children. But it's more than that. That's more the polite, sanitized way of referring to it. The truth is, every girl that comes to Imara is between the ages of 10 and 14 and has been raped and become pregnant. That's the truth. Each of these girls is there because they don't have anywhere else to go. In some cases, families have forced them out. They've been kind of shunned by their communities. In other cases, it's because, well, even though children are prized in Kenya and families might be happy to have another child, they can't afford it. So they have to be sent away. I'm told it's an epidemic in Kenya, rape of these young girls, 10 to 14. These girls didn't have a choice. This was done to them, and girls, what if they don't want to be moms? And one of them, a 10-year-old who had just turned 11 actually, the week before, gave birth while we were there. This young girl, she told Carol, the director of Imara, the day before that she didn't want to have the baby. Even after the baby was born, she didn't want to be a mom. But here she was. But thankfully, she found what I think is the lived gospel of Jesus Christ, the Harambe of Imara International. She found a place and a people who welcomed her, who said, "You can do this. You're not alone." That's Harambe. That's living the gospel. That is good news to know that you are someone who has been violated, forced to produce life, but life that you're going to learn to love and share with others because you have a community of faith.
Hello, habari zenu. My name is Sharon Damari and I'm 18 years old, and my son is Frank Lemayan. He's 2 years old, and in his mind he thinks he's 20, but it's because he's so funny. I would like to start by thanking God. I'm glad. It means a lot to me that you care about young women like me, even when you have not seen me in person. And before that, I would like to thank you so much for helping us and for being with us and for supporting us. Your support means a lot to us. When I was young, I lived with my mom, and afterwards she gave me out to our relative. I ran and lived in the forest, but also in the forest life was not good. And here in Kenya, there is many dangerous animals, and that's why I decided then to go back home. And I found that my mom has passed away, and now she leave me alone there, living with my relative. And because of many cultural beliefs, I could not be able to attend her burial, and that makes me to feel bad. During 2020, all the homes were closed because of the COVID, and we were sent homes, and because that's make me not to be safe, and that is where I got pregnant. And the homes that I was stayed, they were not even allow me to stay there, and they chased me away. And because of mercies of God, I got the government who rescued me and took me to Imara and brought me to Imara. Yeah. they give me opportunity to do my skill. And right now, I'm a hairdresser. Yes, you are all welcome. I can do massage for you, manicure and pedicure, and not even beautician. I would like to help those who are in need. My hopes for my future is to become a beautician and travel to America. Yeah, and also try my best as I can and also become a pilot.
I had a PowerPoint presentation, but I do think I decided in the end that those two videos say so much about the spirit, the work, the welcome, and the opportunity that Imara provides for these very young girls and their children, far better than I could describe. I am not sure who to introduce first, but I would like to, Amy, could I introduce you first? And maybe you could then let us know about who should speak next, whether Carol or Steve, and if you could just tell us a bit about, someone could tell us about Imara, its history, its mission, how it began as such a small project and has grown, where the support comes from, and some of the policies about how long people stay and that sort of thing. So,
Sure.
is that all
I
right?
will, I will start out this morning and say thank you and welcome, St. James's Church. We are blessed and excited to have you join us in this mission to young Kenyan teenage girls and their children. And those two videos really do kind of sum up for us what we do and the amazing work that gets done. And while our girls have very tragic stories to come to Imara, you can see from listening to Lamari this morning and just how much growth and how much God is with them in their journey to grow beyond their circumstances. Imara was founded in 2012, and I'm not going to get into a lot of that because I have two people with me who know way more about the founding than I do. But I work for Imara in Minneapolis. It was founded here in the Twin Cities area and sent from Pastor Steve's church. Carol went to Kenya. I don't know how she did it, but somehow she said, "Hi, I'm here to help pregnant teenagers." And now here we are in 2026 with a house with pregnant teenagers and children and joy and laughter and brighter futures. And it's amazing. Pretty much anything that happens in the United States, I am supposed to know how that's running. So I am the person that helps coordinate our events, our communications, and other things like that. So the mission grew beyond a purely volunteer team, and even though I had been volunteering pretty much from the beginning, I was able to make Imara my job about 5 years ago. So I am blessed to serve every day these young women and children and the team in Kenya. So I've got Pastor Steve with us. He is our current board chair and was there when our church, Messiah Church in Plymouth, Minnesota, sent Carol Erickson, who is also on the call with us this morning, to Kenya. And I think, Carol, I'm just going to go right to you. If you want to give, I know, sorry, I shake it up here. It's crazy. But just to kind of give the overview of kind of how you came to be in Kenya, and maybe a little bit. I just talked to Carol about 30 minutes ago, and so she's got updates and all the information we need to get started. But we are excited to be working with you.
Okay, well, good morning to you. It's actually after 8 o'clock p.m. here in Kenya, but because technology is awesome, I was able to jump in and be able to be part of this. So I'm excited that St. James is part of the Imara family and that we're going to start this relationship together. You'll have to just excuse me. I have a little bit of a cough, so if I start to cough, I have my drink. So sorry about that in advance. There you have it. Anyway, well, Amy said how I got to Kenya. Well, I think the answer is I told God I was never going to Kenya. And that is, just for the record, a bad idea, because I said that in February and I took my first trip to Kenya that July. And then a few years later, a few of us saw that there was kind of a gap of care with teenage mothers. And so we just decided, after a lot of prayer and a lot of answered prayers, that we would just step into that gap. And as I look back at it now, almost 14 years ago, I think I can't believe I did it. Or that we did it, because we didn't know anything. We were so dumb those days. But God was good in the midst of my inability, and God was faithful in helping us get it started. And we are meeting a need to help these young women get back into school, have safe deliveries, and to just generally heal from the trauma that they've experienced in their life. And our basic care is that what we do is we don't take anyone over 14. If we took 15-year-olds, there'd be 10,000 or 100,000. So in order to limit our numbers, we trying to cap our age at 14. And when they come in, we try to get them immediate medical care and kind of let them get adjusted so that they can kind of begin their journey at Imara. And that journey is all, it provides education, life skills, job skills, counseling, medical care, parenting, and we try to do it all in a way that lifts up Jesus and helps these young women and their children know that no matter what's happened in their life, that they are loved by us, but they are also deeply loved by Christ. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we do. In general, our lives are just crazy. I mean, like, you just never know what's going to happen from a day-to-day basis. So, but right now at the Imara house, we have 20 moms and 21 kids. We have one young woman who has 2 children, and we have 2 babies on the way. So I think I did my math right. Maybe we have 20. I don't know. I lose count sometimes. There's a lot of kids and there's a lot of moms. We've all just gone back to school. So it's always hectic getting everyone into the schools that they need to be in. But that's just kind of finished up and they're settling into their routine. So I don't know if there's any specific questions or if I am covering what you want to hear. I don't know, Amy, do you have any suggestions? Not to throw it back at you, I'm happy to talk more about it, or give some more updates about what we're doing currently or how things are going currently.
Does anyone have a specific question for Carol at this point?
Just to kind of cover, we're a long-term program, so it's not like we bring our moms in and help them have their baby and then say bye-bye, see ya. The moms and the kids stay with us until they're at least 18 usually. That's the scope of our program. So they come in at 12, 13, 14. They have their child. And so Imara encompasses, we become an important part of their life for anywhere from 4 to 6 years. And each girl or each mom that comes in and each child that we have in Imara, they have their own individual plan. So the idea that there's a set thing, we try to have kind of a program that we address, but we obviously flex and respond to the needs of each of the moms that we have. We have moms that are in two different high schools this year. We have moms that are studying on our campus to bring their knowledge and their skills up to a point where they can then rejoin a school. And then we care for babies. There's an amazing woman there that she's the baby whisperer. I don't know how she does it. She spends every day with all these little tiny babies. And then once they get old enough, they enter our preschool and they're getting developmentally appropriate materials when it's making an impact. And that's where we're seeing, and I mean, I'm talking like I actually know what's going on, but we see amazing results in the impact we're making in the children that are going to school, and just how much difference that early education makes for them to enter the school environment. I don't know. I'm going to invite Pastor Steve to share, I don't know, share something so that I'm not talking like I know what's going on. Um, Even though I did just get back from Kenya, Carol's in Kenya, I was in Kenya. Steve has just been in Kenya last year as well. So yeah, if there's any questions in the room, please please slow us down, and we'd be happy to answer questions. What might be the easier way to do things?
Just briefly, I don't have a whole lot to share beyond what Carol and Amy have said. So I'll kind of take a step back and talk more operationally. Um, Carol is the full-time executive director who lives most of the year with a couple of trips back to the U.S., mostly to help us with fundraising, and but lives full-time in Nanyuki, Kenya, which is kind of a mid-sized city in Kenya, located at the foot of Mount Kenya. And Amy, as she's introduced herself, is the full-time operations director in the United States. Now we have two board of directors, a United States board of directors and a Kenyan board of directors. The United States board of directors, our primary task is to fund the operations and to develop the relationships. It isn't solely about seeking people who can contribute monetarily, but to contribute in some ways, whether it's monetarily or perhaps with telling the story, or even being prayerful about needs that we send out, and you'll begin to receive kind of our monthly prayer request list. So that's what the United States does, and we're a fairly frugal operation. You can find on our website materials about that. One of our founding principles is transparency around our finances. So we want you to be sure that you know where your giving is going and how it is being used, and that it is all being carried out appropriately. And as we say, that we're going to use those funds. Now, there's also a Kenyan board of directors, in large part because we own property in Kenya, which the United States is not legally able to do. So we have a Kenyan board of directors. And so we are an NGO or a nonprofit in Kenya, so that board of directors can really maintain the operations end of things, with both the compound or campus where the girls live and go to school, which is in the city of Nanyuki, and then out of the cities where we own some property. Carrie, you might correct me, I'm always mixed up a little how many acres it is, but it's a sizable acreage where we have a farm and an orchard and a flock of sheep and a chicken coop with chickens, all of which is meant to kind of support the food needs of the girls in our Imara house. Now, we aren't self-sufficient. It doesn't produce enough to cover 100% of the food needs, but it certainly supplements in a great way. So we have kind of these two properties, one that we lease that's in town, and the other that we own that's more our farm property, and may one day actually become a campus where we actually build a program out on that property as well. But that's kind of in the future. So a U.S. Board of Directors, more around the fundraising, providing the support that's needed, and then the Kenyan Board, which really works with Carol around the operations end of things. So that's where we are um, operationally. The first video, in fact, that you saw, the woman who was speaking in that is actually a member of our board of directors in the United States. And she was sharing part of her story after having returned from making her first visit to Imara in Kenya, which it is always an opportunity. And one day it would be wonderful to welcome persons from St. James Church to make the trip to Kenya. And you can actually read more about how all that works on our website, which explains that pretty well and actually shows some photos and so forth. But we have the opportunity. We have groups. I think this year about a half a dozen groups that are actually making trips to Kenya. So keep that in your mind as you might feel kind of God nudging you somehow, some way to move in that direction to deepen your relationship and actually see for yourself. And frankly, there's nothing quite like holding a baby that, as you hold that baby, realize that child might not be in this world if it weren't for the work of Imara International. So I think that's enough for me. If you've got some questions, I think Carol and Amy can probably address those for you.
Thank you so much to all of you for speaking. Are there any questions from the room at the moment? Beth? Yeah, why don't you come? Yeah, I can come to you. Or you can come up here and then you can be seen by them too, I think. And this is where the sound is coming from, so.
And Deb, I just want to start by saying that it's a real honor to meet you, Carol. And I'm all wound up in this thing.
So am I. I'm gonna hand you the mic.
You hear me?
Yeah, this is how they'll hear you.
Okay. Oh,
Trade you.
I see. Okay. I just want to say it's a real honor to meet you, Carol. I've read a lot about you and I've been extremely impressed and grateful for your work. That goes to all of you, but Carol's the one I know about. I do have a question. I wonder if you've had any disabled young girls come in, and particularly I'm interested in deaf kids. If so, how have you dealt with them?
Well, we have had some children, not the mothers. By law, we're not allowed to because we are not a facility that is certified to have people who have either disabilities or special needs. Though we have had children who have been born who have had some significant special needs. The one, he would be about 11 now. He died when he was 5, and he had severe disabilities. We just brought in another little boy, and he has cerebral palsy and epilepsy. And so we're dealing with that, and he's in a lot of therapy. So we're just trying, whoever comes our way, we support. It just depends which moms, which kids. And we just continue to try to meet their needs and love them where they are. And unfortunately, there are not a lot of services here in Kenya for people who have disabilities or special needs.
Thank you, Carol.
Does that answer that, hopefully?
Thank you.
Yes, thanks so much.
Great.
Let me bring them, do you want to come up here? Or I can bring the mic to you so they can hear you, okay?
Yeah, my name's Brian. Thank you so much for your work. And I was a missionary for 3 years over in Nigeria, and I have been to Kenya too. But my question is about that maybe you said the educational needs or the trauma support. I'm a chaplain, and so just wondered about the psychosocial, spiritual needs and how you address those. I mean, I know there's needs, but how you address those. Thanks.
We are constantly addressing all of those needs at Imara. We use a professional counseling service that is local in our community. And we also do group counseling with a on-staff social worker who's constantly meeting individually or in groups with the moms. We also have a trauma specialist as part of our board of directors in the United States who does regular trainings with the girls and the staff on trauma and how do you cope with trauma. And I think we also have a plan in August. We have a group coming that are specifically going to be looking at some issues directly related to the trauma the girls have experienced, and they're kind of focusing on that for their entire trip. And then the spiritual aspect, we try to put the spiritual aspect kind of in everything that we do. The girls attend a local church on Sundays, but we do devotions. I think they do devotions twice a day. They do it before bed, and we do it midday. And we just try to put that in. We try to bring Christ and his love into everything that we do on a daily basis.
All right, Lori, Reverend Laurie has a question.
I'm wondering if you can say a little bit about where these girls come from, like how do they make their way to Imara?
All of our girls have come to us with awareness to the local government. The government knows about these situations. So we work hand in hand with the children's officers. We work with chiefs of the local chiefs in the community. We also work with headmasters of school who have identified issues and then brought the children's offices and the chief into the equation. And we always get like signed documentation, and we do all of the due process that we have to do legally here in Kenya to have a girl come into our program. Like right now, we've most recently been working with a priest at a mission in a very remote area. And because he is in that community, he knows what's going on and he knows all the people. And so we have been liaising with him as we have brought in several girls from that community. It is a community that has a very, very high rate of very young pregnancy. And so, we just kind of look for different groups, and then we're also part of a national network that identifies cases and all the different kind of organizations that are either dealing with women's issues or women and children. And we're specifically under 18 or under 14 and under, but it's kind of a wide range of protection against gender-based violence that we're part of. And that's also a good resource for us, but it's also helpful. And because we know what other people in the communities are doing to advocate for these young women who don't have a voice. So, and right now we're full. So we haven't taken, we took some recently, but we're basically at a bed space. At 20, we're pretty full.
Thank you, Carol.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have a question? Oh, I see another hand. Okay.
Hold it like this. Can you hear me okay? Hey, this is Jill Buno. I'm a turned Peace Corps volunteer. I served in Dominican Republic 88 to 90, and I've been teaching Spanish immersion for 35 years. Question more of curiosity. For your students who you're tutoring in preparation to allow them to be ready to go back into the regular school system, as well as some of your preschool younger kids, what language or languages do you teach them in?
Kenya has two national languages. Kenyans speak both Swahili and English, but for most Kenyans, that is not their mother tongue. All of the girls have a tribal mother tongue, and then but at Imara we try to stick to Swahili, the common language, and English, and we speak a lot of English because all of the textbooks are in English. So for them to be able to study, they really need to be able to read and hear and understand English. Um, we do not prohibit, of course, the mothers from teaching their children their mother tongue, but just in general, we don't speak that. I mean, most Kenyans are trilingual, which is really cool and amazing. And I'm struggling just to speak one language on most days. So Uh, yeah, so those are the languages, and in general at Imara, 6 days a week we speak all English, and then on Tuesdays we speak High Swahili, which Kenyans do not speak High Swahili or Tanzanian Swahili, but they get tested in High Swahili. And so it's important that at least one day a week we speak strictly High Swahili. And I try not to go to Imara on those days.
I have a question. There's time for more questions, but I had a question about, I remember learning when we were when we were meeting before we met with the vestry most recently about beginning this partnership. I remember learning, I think from Amy perhaps, that no one has to leave until they are ready. There's not a kind of a timing out or graduation. There's not a set program or time that people might stay with Imara. How can you say more about that? Because I found that really wonderful to think about what ready means for these.
Yeah, it's really hard because in Kenya, generally speaking, if you turn 18 in a orphanage or something, you're just done. You leave. But in what family do you get kicked out at 18 just because you're 18? Most people get to finish high school or they get to finish whatever they're doing before they leave. So that's why we leave it open-ended, is because we have a lot of girls who either didn't have the opportunity to go to school, or they started late, or they were really behind due to things that they didn't control, where they weren't able to attend school. So we try to let them finish high school if that's their desire. In Kenya, by law, at 18, they can drop out of school. And we've had some who have made that choice. But we try to, like Amy said earlier, each person has their own plan, their own special program that fits their needs. So for some of our moms, that means staying a little bit longer. For others, it means they have a shorter stay depending on their need. Because like I said just a second ago, no one gets kicked out of the family, at least in a healthy situation, just because they had a birthday. And so we don't want them to drop out of school in 9th grade just because they've turned 18.
Why don't you describe to them what the transition is from the Imara house to independent living or returning back to their home village? So to describe that process.
We have what we call our launch program, because life at Imara is pretty easy compared to where they've come from. And so in order to prepare the moms for real life, we have rented little houses. And when I say little houses, I mean like one-room houses, which would be typical to what a young woman like our girls could afford as they come out of our program. And so they get to stay in our launch houses after they finish their schooling while they're either doing an internship or they're an apprentice or they're in a college, technical college type program. And of course, we help them, they don't have any money. So we help them with their day-to-day needs, but they have to budget. They have to get their kids up and ready and to school. They have to do all their meals. And so they basically have to live independently, but we're there to help them and to support them and to teach them so that by the time they're out on their own, they already kind of know how to do it. So they're not forced to go back into unhealthy patterns or going back into an unhealthy situation. So we have 2 girls right now and a third one entering our launch program shortly. And, they go to work 5 days a week or sometimes 6, and actually 5. They give back at Imara one day and then they go to church on a Sunday. They don't work on Sundays, so they have time to be with their kids. So that's generally what our transition looks like. And then after they're out of our transitional program, we continue to follow up with them and to see how they're doing and just, let them know that just because you're out of our program doesn't mean you're out of the family, that we still track and we keep up with what's going on.
It's really wonderful. Thank you. Does anyone else have another? Okay. I'm going to go over to John, who has a question.
Oh, hi, I'm John Arrow. I'm a member of the vestry here. And the question I have is, what do you envision for the future of Imara? You talked about there's a farm up there. You might want to build some stuff. Do you want to double to maybe do 40 children instead of 20? Do you want to move out of the city? I mean, what are your plans for the future if you could dream bigger than you are now?
For me to dream bigger than this makes everyone nervous. No. But I would envision a program where, yes, we would eventually move out to our farm. And as Steve was saying, he didn't exactly remember the acreage. It's 20 acres. And we can build on 5 acres because it's the agricultural land. So that we would farm 15 and then develop 5. And that we would be able to provide better services for more teenagers who have gotten pregnant or teenage moms. So that would be the dream for someday. And what I would really love to have someday is a college where girls can learn really practical skills, like Lamari in the video. She said she was a cosmetologist or a beautician, where we could teach cosmetology, which is big business here because all African women get their hair done, or most do, and men. Just so there's business there. Tailoring is another big business. Welding is a big business. Auto mechanic. So we could teach them those kind of skills so that they would have practical skills that they could work and then go and make a living for themselves and their child. And in Nanyuki, there isn't really a good college like that to send our girls to. We've tried several. We were sure that we were going to colleges in Nanuki. We wouldn't even have to be good. We would just have to follow the rules, because no one seems to follow through with anything. You send them and nothing happens, or they don't give them their certificate, or they never finish anything. And don't get me wrong, we would be excellent. We wouldn't just be barely good, but we would still be better if we were barely good, because there just aren't any programs. So it's really frustrating to me that a young woman can't get the training she needs to get a job because there just aren't any programs available. So I hope that maybe one day we can provide that, in that Imara can not only be known for its quality programs for our young moms, but that when these young moms graduate, they're awesome at something, and people want to hire them because they know they're good at what they do.
That's great. What a vision. What a beautiful vision. Yes. So you have another, yeah,
Sorry, I have to go. So I just to say, like,
here.
let me look in the screen so I can say hi.
Okay, here, this is how they can hear you.
Oh, hi, you guys.
Hello.
So I'm just going to talk to the congregation for a second. So we have been blessed to be able to fundraise to support Imara International for a period of time. We are part of what they call their Link program, which means that we send them $300 a month, which is not a lot of money for us, and hopefully it's very beneficial to them. If you want to donate towards this effort, then all you need to do is make a check out to St. James, and then in the memo line, just put Imara International Special Interest. Okay, all the money that we collect in that particular account is going directly to Imara International. So, and thank you to Bev for helping us source Imara International. We started off by looking at 3 different organizations, and the vestry looked at all 3 and voted for Imara. So I'm really excited and thrilled that we are starting this program finally. So thank you. And thank you all for being with us, Steve and Carol and Amy. Thank you so much. And thank you, Ingrid. Okay, and I gotta go.
I'm gonna have to follow her pretty quickly. We need to be at the door by 10:15. Is there anything that any of you would, I'm so grateful that you were all able to join us today. As Carol, as your sound was cutting out a little bit, I remembered that I remembered hearing from Amy that people who came on a recent mission trip were possibly going to be involved with helping you set up your computer or communications room. And I'm just wondering how that went and whether there are things like donations in kind that you also are interested in us knowing about.
Well, the computer lab is a work in process. Sometimes things in Kenya don't go as fast as you want them to go. I'll just warn you all about that. And sometimes you can push and you can push and you can push, but if they don't call you back, you can't do anything about it. And so but that's just life here. You do all you can, and then you trust God's timing. So we are working on it. We just had a group leave last week, and what they did is they got shelving up for us, which was great, in our computer lab and in some of our classrooms. And then we're working with a computer company. We have a quote from them to get all of our pieces together. It's just what we're working on now is getting together the whole system, so that it's working and that we can monitor the internet and all that stuff. So yeah, that is a work in process. And I don't know, Amy, what do you have more to add to that as far as gifts in kind and that kind of thing?
It's we do a little bit of that, but in order to get things like that to Imara House, what we typically have to do is send them with a mission team. And we do have people traveling from the West Coast. Occasionally we have an increase in interest, so that's kind of exciting to have more travelers and more visitors to Imara. A lot of what we do, especially through the Link program, is emotional support, prayer support for our moms and kids. And if there are special needs that we have, we will communicate with the church and let you know. But typically getting goods over to Kenya is challenging, and so we send it with people so that it actually gets to where it's supposed to go.
Okay, makes good sense. Thank you very much. Is there anything else that any of the 3 of you would like to say? And
I just want to say thank you.
Okay. Thank you so
Sorry,
much
I didn't mean
for
to
joining
interrupt
us.
you. Yeah,
No,
I
it's
just wanted to
quite all
say
right.
thank you. I hope someday I can meet you all in person. I come to the West Coast quite often because I'm actually from Seattle. So, I'm there, and maybe I can pop down to see you at some point in the near future so I can meet you in person. And just Thank you so much for your time and for your willingness to partner with us. And I do hope some of you come to Kenya. The girls and the kids at Imara, I know I'm biased, but they're amazing and they have come through so much, and yet they have done it with joy and with laughter. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for all that you do. All three of you are such a blessing, clearly, to all these young women and their children, to the organization, to Kenya, and we're so delighted to be partnering with you. And we look forward to a long relationship and getting to know you better. We look forward also to the prayer requests and that sort of thing. So we will keep everybody informed of those things. I guess I'd just like to say thanks to our gracious God for bringing us together with you and in spirit with all of the people that you serve in Kenya. I ask for God's blessing on your work and on your vision and on the discernment to help us all understand how we can best work together to serve all of the beloved people that you work with. Thanks be to God.